Hello, everybody. It's been a little while. Hi. Good to see you all again. I'm happy to be back here for a little while prior to heading into work to answer some questions and to talk a little bit about why I have been gone a while. Also just to check in to see how all of you guys are. How are you going, Pidge? Welcome in. It is good to see you. For how my day has been so far, just in general, let's say I woke up, I started getting ready for work. I ended up trying a new type of cereal today. I ended up trying like a Neapolitan flavored Cocoa Pops, which is supposed to be like, chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla Cocoa Pops. And I don't hate it. It's actually kind of good, but because it's not gonna be like a permanent flavor, I don't want to get like too committed and attached to it, So I'm kind of just like keeping my distance. It's weird having like trust issues with the cereal. Um, but that's where we're standing right now. Pidge says, I'm meh. That's honestly fair enough. Going through some bits and pieces yourself as well, Pidge? Or just kind of like, just a general for life stuff. Stretch. Goodness. I feel like I should be way more awake than I am, given I've got to go to work after this. But I do not. I am not. I am not awake yet. Also, given today, I feel like I should probably touch a little bit on stuff in general. Pidge says, nah, health stuff, Flair. How have you been though? Yes, Pidge, actually this is same here. That's why I've not been here. We have been in the middle of the health lack apocalypse. So for those who have been following the streams and the YouTubes for a while, I think that it's been mentioned across a couple of the different YouTube clips and across quite a few different streams that I have various different health issues. I had a massive lot of changes that ended up happening really quickly and quite suddenly. One of which being that my back issues ended up getting worse. For context, we don't actually know why I have back issues. I'm I'm in that position where like I am how old am I? Goodness. This is the question I have to ask myself, like how old actually am I? I think I'm 23. That rings a bell. Okay, so like I'm 23 years old with chronic back issues. And I had like a massive flare up, meaning that currently I can't sit down for any longer than about 30 minutes at a time. Which has been making streaming really, really difficult. I've been having periods of time where my back's been fully seizing up, which has not been helpful. My osteopath, which is just kind of like a person who ends up helping out with the muscle flexibility and stuff at the minute, for the muscles and everything, is like, we don't really have a cause for this. It's not anything else that's changed with the other bits and pieces that we already know about. I mean, yes, some of your medications and stuff have changed, but like not substantial enough that they should have this effect. Although knowing me, like I wouldn't be surprised if something's changed and it's just like random. So the osteopath thinks that it's due to an influx in stress from life circumstances changing a lot. But due to back issues, like I was saying, I haven't been able to sit down for any longer than like 30 minutes or so. And because I don't have an answer to what this mystery magical health ghost is, that's the ghost in the machine that's infecting my bones is, it means that I have been desperately trying to figure out how to set up a stream lying down. Most of my games, I can't actually play lying down. I do have a Switch that I have been trying to figure out how to set up and to be playable from bed. But we're not friends right now. Me and my Switch. We're having communication issues. Number one, anytime that I try and put my like Shadowcast thing on it, it just throws a hissy fit and says, "No, I don't want to do the extra work today. You already play me enough, you fool. How dare you make me overwork by casting me to your magical device to cast me to the internet as well." And it starts complaining. Then also, I have to be very careful when I'm laying down, not to like do it on too much of an angle when I'm like lying down, because if I end up being too angled, then I'll end up setting off my neck, and my neck's already tight enough, and I don't want to cause neck issues in addition to back issues, which is a secondary problem. But like, I know why I have neck issues. Neck issues is because that's just stress. I know I have neck issues because of stress, and then also just because, I don't know, neck. I don't know how I neck though, but also neck, you know. Pidge says, mystery health issues are awful. I mean, a cheap projector aimed at the ceiling, that's not actually a bad idea. I might see if I can find one on like Facebook Marketplace or something. That could be a decent idea. But I'd also need to find space in my house to put it. So that's the other thing. As I think I've mentioned on previous streams, my house is very, very small. So small in fact that every time that I go do streaming things, I'll reliably trip on something. Because of the fact that everything's kind of compacted and in spaces it shouldn't be, because there's not enough room to put all of the things that I have. So I need to do a massive declutter. But obviously, me having difficulty with sitting for prolonged periods of time means that I can't exactly sit on the floor to sort through all of the things that would make it easier for me to get through them. Secondarily, I ended up losing a couple of my social workers who would normally help me with this. So I have to go through interviewing processes to find a new one. Cause fun story. I end up keeping on picking the social workers that have ADHD, and then the my last social worker ended up just ignoring the fact that she effectively broke her kneecap and now has to get surgery on her kneecap and is going to be out of commission for 2 months because she was like, I'm sure it's fine. And I'm like, that's such a me move. Like, yes, this is completely fine and normal. It's only a little bit of pain. It never killed anybody. In fact, the narrator says, it had killed somebody before, and it was going to be worse if they waited. Pidge says, have you tried just not having stress? Yes, I have indeed tried not having stress. The not having stress is why I have other issues. It's why I'm in therapy. Deathless says, Andy, hi. Hi, Deathless. How's it going? We're talking a little bit about why I've been gone from streaming for so long and what's going on in my life that's contributing to the mess that is bleh. So we're currently talking about the ghost in my machine. The ghost in my bones. How's it going for you, Deathless? How are you? But yeah, so at the minute we're trying to work out what it is that I can do feasibly with trying to stream that's going to, one, not mean that every time that I go to stream I'm going to trip over a random object, which is a health hazard. And two, going to mean I'm not gonna have to sit down to stream, which is also a health hazard, which I think is hilarious, honestly. Like, if I don't laugh, I feel like I'm gonna cry about it, because it's just like I can't sit, I can't stand, and then lying down is the only option, but then I can't see, lean the normal direction that I would, in the direction that I would normally do it, to play Switch on my TV. So it's just so annoying. Life. Sometimes life gives you lemons, and then you try and squeeze them back into life's eyes. That's just what I'm learning. But yeah, so we're working on trying to figure out some solutions. Dessa says that sounds very annoying, actually. Yeah, so this is part of the reason why I haven't been streaming Deathless. Because I can't do an awful lot at the minute. For other bits and pieces, that's just bullet point 1 on the issue board of things that kind of ended up going south. So other things that ended up getting mentioned, I think this got mentioned on a stream that I did with Ace Phoenix Gamer a while ago. It would have been way back in like January, I think. I believe I mentioned to you guys that I have Raynaud's syndrome. Basically where like I have very poor circulation in my limbs. And I end up losing circulation in my fingertips and stuff, which means that the actual limbs will seize up randomly, and I don't actually have the capacity to move them around very much. And that sometimes they'll just get stuck in a particular position, or I'll lose the ability to move them. So I've been having more flare-ups of that because the weather's been changing. Here in Victoria, we've had some of the worst weather humanly possible for Raynaud's syndrome flare-ups. In my case, we've had winter weather, followed by extreme summer heat, followed by random spring sort of ice storm, then quickly followed up by like a lot of wind, and then you've got like a nice mild day where it's like even keel, nice no wind temperatures, and it just goes through this cycle, which has meant that I haven't been able to do things like use a controller, which I have to use if I'm going to be able to play games a lot of the time. Because if I end up using my keyboard, then my hands will get stuck in a claw shape. And I won't be able to like do things like switch scenes and stuff. At least when it's in a controller, I can at least reliably be able to hold the thing and not accidentally end up pressing 400 things on my keyboard and mess up the entire stream. Which is part of the reason why I play controller instead of keyboard and mouse, even though I was taught to play games on keyboard and mouse traditionally. Which adds another layer to the note. Because if I'm going to be streaming, I don't exactly want to be having to stop mid-stream because somebody, namely me, ends up accidentally, I don't know, turning on a video of Elmo in the background. I don't know why I would have a video of Elmo in the background, but I just went through and made it. Actually, funnily enough, I made a playlist that's like my head empty playlist, which is kind of what it's like to be inside my brain. I went and compiled it yesterday because I was curious to see what it actually looked like, because I was just like, oh yeah, I'll just compile all the random brain bites that my brain has in it. And then I looked at it and went, this is weird. This looks really strange on paper, because it had music from like the 1920s, and then it also had like random cartoons and memes. It had some people's old ringtones. It had the Nintendo startup sounds, and all of that kind of stuff. And then just like lots of breaking noises. And then one of the things that was in there was also 1 hour of silence randomly interrupted by gnome sounds. And then I was like, yes, this is what my brain sounds like. But anyway, that's like a derail. Um, anyway, so obviously, Raynaud's syndrome doesn't help. Pidge says, no, bad weather and Raynaud's is bad combo. Yes, it is. Thumbtack says, hello, nice to see you again. Hi, Thumbtack, good to see you too. Pidge says, what? What do you mean? What? What in what regard? There's a lot of what. Feel free to clarify the what and I will answer. Because sometimes I speak fast. I think in dream fast. Let's see. The hour of silence. Yeah. Yeah. My brain's funny. It's just an hour of silence that's interrupted by gnome sounds. I don't know how else to describe it. It's just an hour of silence that's interrupted by gnomes. I'll see if I can actually find the video to show you. Hang on. But it's also got things like banana phone in it. Like I don't know if anybody remembers banana phone. But to my brain it's just like, yes, it just answers that sometimes. Like I'll sometimes go, hey, what are you thinking, to my brain, and then it'll just go banana phone, banana phone. And then that's the only answer. Let's see, Thumbtack says, could you imagine sleeping and being shook awake by mischievous gnomes? Yes. Yes. I can, in fact, like, imagine that. It is amazing. Yes. Let's see. Thumbtack says, could you... sorry, Pitch says, the fact that exists, like, someone had to make it. Yes, someone had to make it. Someone had to make 1 hour of silence. Broken by gnome sounds. It was important, you know? Everybody needed to know. Everyone needed the gnomes. But yeah, allow me to show for allow me to do minor show and tell for the class, while I think about it. So what's on the books for today? So books for today is just me going through and explaining, some answers, answering some community questions and answering, explaining why I haven't been streaming, what's the go from here, and what it looks like the next little while might be based on this. So that's kind of the plan for today. Also because I do unfortunately have to work. This is something that I am annoyed with. Because as you guys know, I got chronic health conditions. But in the current climate that I live in, we do not have enough of monies to be able to not work, which really sucks. And I wish that we didn't have to, but I still need to. Thumbtack says, also I have to work 14 days in a row. No, that's so many days in a row. I'm pretty sure that's illegal. I'm pretty sure that's illegal. How is work going anyway, Thumbtack? As far as like how work's going for me, I'm contemplating swooping jobs. Not for mine, 7 days off. Ah, okay. Still sucks. Depends on the amount of hours each day. I guess. In most industries, it's usually illegal over here. At least that was what I was told anyway. Because general conditions at the very least for like hospitality, retail, etc. is like no longer than 10 consecutive days. The awards dictate the hours and time off. Fair enough. Valid fair play must be hard job if it's 2 weeks on, 1 week off. Yeah, I can imagine. But yeah, more or less, TLDR for some tac who just joined. Back issues mean I can't really sit longer than 30 minutes at a time in most cases. I need to try and figure out a streaming setup that's going to mean that I can actually stream properly. Because my current place does not allow for this. And I need to try and work it out as best as I possibly can. For other things that have been happening with rapid weather changes, I can't have like play games with my controllers or anything, so I'm trying to work out a different way to do it. Thumbtack says we get you a bed or a standing desk for a stream. Now, a standing desk would be theoretically a good idea, except that I can't stand for long periods either, which is why I need to change jobs. This is the problem. I can't stand for long periods. I can't sit for long periods. This is why it's terrible. Soup says, till that's figured out, streams are being put on hold altogether, right? Pretty much. Between that and then the other, like, health investigation stuff, there's not an awful lot that really can be done. I do want to try and do other stuff in the meantime as well. Like, I'd love to be able to try and figure out how to do streams, but streams may be being a bit more sporadic at the minute as I'm trying to do stuff, and they may be more chaotic and less professionally put together because I'm going to be trialing a lot of different setups, and they may not work very well all of the time. So I'm going to have to be learning how to stream again, which is going to be fun. But that's okay, because sometimes we need to try and learn from new experiences, and at the very least, by doing this, it means that I can learn a new way to kind of go around, and then if somebody else gets into the similar sort of position that I'm in, I can go, hey, this is what worked for me. It might not work for you, but this is an option. Pitch says, oh, the fun quirks of chronic illness. Yes, indeed. But some other bits and pieces that are happening in the background. I'm also going to be probably having to undergo like immunology testing at some point, most likely. And I've got a cardiology screening coming up in June. So the cardiology screening, so that's like heart testing. My younger sibling has a heart condition. So that's a little bit more routine. But they're wanting to double check that the stuff that's going on with me isn't related to a heart condition. Before they end up sending me to the long-winded and possibly decades-long testing procedure that immunology will take. Which is... the medical system sometimes isn't very fast when it comes to diagnosing things. But as long as they get there at some point, I'm gonna be relatively happy. And in the meantime, we're just gonna be trying to work on improving quality of life as best as we can. and working on things as much as we can from there. In the meantime, does anybody have any particular like questions or anything for me that you want to ask or get clarifications on, or anything like that? I'm pretty open. We've got a bit of free time before I have to head off, so let's open this up to the group. Does anybody have anything they wanna ask? Soup says, oh, also Andy, make sure to eat food before work, please. Yes, I was having trust issues with cereal just before you got here, Soup. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about my trust issues with cereal. It was the Neapolitan cereal. Like, I like it. I don't want to like it because I know they're gonna remove it. So I have trust issues with that cereal. Thumbtack says, "Where'd you get that magical top? It shows behind you." Ah, as far as the thumbtacks with the magical top. This particular top, it's one of those ones that are we talking the in-character answer or the streamer answer? Because if we're talking in-character answer, it's made of the gossamers of the morning dew and spider's silks that you can only get in a very specific part of the forest. But if we're talking about the streamer answer, in character, it's a joke quote from me. But yes, so that's where it's from. But yes, that is where I got it from. Pidge says, are you still doing the neurology stuff? That was a few months ago, right? Yes, I am still doing the neurology stuff. Update with the neurology. Neurology stuff is that they've mostly somewhat, I guess, somewhat stabilized the neurology condition. They've definitely settled on the migraine disorder thing. I can never remember what it's actually called. I got too many things going on. I have a folder that's dedicated to all of this information because it just goes over my head. But with the actual migraine disorder thing that I've got with the functional neurological disorder stuff, and hey, there we go. And then the migraine disorder that they've got that's separate. They're currently on the second to last medication that they're trying for me before I go onto needles, which will work for the condition. So the needles things will guaranteed work for the condition that I have, but they're very, very expensive. So they have to go through and try a whole bunch of other medications. That way I can get it for much cheaper than $200 a needle. Especially since I need to get, I think it was 2 needles a month. They don't want me to pay that much money for it. They would much rather I have a different amount. What's the needles thing? So that's for the migraine disorder. So the migraine condition needs to be treated. So I have chronic headaches and migraines most days, which are debilitating. That's part of the reason I should change jobs as well, because I'm working in a shopping center. Botox or a MAB injection, it's like a it's like a newly developed migraine specific cocktail, I guess is the easiest way to describe it. It was developed 2 years ago. And it's only just got like proper approval from the boards and stuff over here for usage for the condition. So it's pretty new, kind of still experimental, but it's had enough backing and stuff for use with the condition across all the clinical trials and everything that it's guaranteed to work across it. So like I'm gonna do that. Like, they know it works. I'm gonna do that. More or less, it's just to kind of stop the migraines and everything from occurring. Thumbtack says recently they finally imaged a migraine to be able to confirm they indeed microbleed on the brain. Yes, I think it's that one. I think so. I need to look it up again. I got given it I think it's that one. Let's see. Yeah, anyway, it was supposed to be like a twice a month injection for migraines in any case. But also that's very interesting. Pitch says I've been on a couple of those, but insurance sucks about it. Yeah, that's part of the reason why they're putting me on so many different other types of medications first to see if they work first. So I'm on topiramate, I think is the most recent one I've been put on. Which is the last one that they're testing prior to putting me on the other one. Yeah, more or less that one is interacting with my ADHD meds. Not in the way we thought it would, but it's causing a lot of brain fog. And has been meaning that I've been doing more things like forgetting my keys places and just dropping things. So it's meant that my spatial awareness has dramatically gone down. Among other things, which not the worst possible side effects that I could have had from it, but also not great. But over here for this particular needle, in any case, if you had try 3 different medications for migraines, and none of those work, then you can go onto the reduced rate for the migraine needles, and then end up getting them. I think it's like $9 a needle, which is pretty darn good. So that's the gap between the state funding for it and the normal. Pidge says, I swear the migraine treatment I'm meant to just bludgeon you into not caring about the pain. Yeah. I can imagine. In my case, I'm very, very stubborn, and I have been dealing with this for so long that I'm like, okay, I would love for there to be a day where I'm not actually physically in pain. I don't know when that will be. I have not been able to foresee a day that will happen, but whenever it is, I would like that to be sooner rather than later. So I've been fighting for it as best as I can. The trouble is that when you are constantly in pain, you also don't always have spoons to be able to do anything else, like being able to live a quality life. Because you're spending a lot of the spoons that you do have trying to survive, which does suck, and is also part of the reason why I'm not streaming at the minute, because I'm having to use all of that extra energy I would be using doing something I enjoy on trying to sort out more medical stuff. But yeah, I'm sorry, Pidge. It sucks that insurance is not being particularly helpful with everything. I really wish that they were more helpful. And that care overall in the medical system was better. Constant survival mode is not fun, and it's not fair. That anybody with chronic pain issues has to deal with it, and chronic illness issues has to deal with it. Well, anybody with any issues has to deal with it. Because honestly, like, I feel like at this point we're all kind of getting into survival mode just in general. We've been through so much together globally that it's getting ridiculous. Pidge says, constant survival mode, hopefully you get past it soon. I hope so. I'm hoping to try and get at least into a somewhat better place this year. I don't know if I should be hoping to have it sorted by the end of the year or not. Because obviously the body has its own timeline. My brain has a very different timeline. If my brain went by its timeline, things would have been sorted 8 years ago. Rather than still not being sorted now. But regardless, it's oh, goodness, something that we're working on. In any case, were there any more questions? But otherwise, it's just wanting to check in to see how all of you guys have been since I've been off, because for those of y'all that have been streaming, I may have been doing a little bit of a lurk. Some of you may have been seeing that I've been occasionally dropping into like Deathless's stream just in the chat. And then going, hee, I get to be a nuisance. Because it's fun. But I haven't checked in with everybody else. So how's everybody? No questions, but I've missed you. Well, I've missed you too. One thing that we possibly can do, is that I want to try and do more touch-ins, I guess, with the Discord server. Even if we can't really do an awful lot, like, at the moment, stream-wise. I want to try and do more touch-ins there, just as kind of a catch-up, touch-base things for the community to chill and vibe if they want to. So if you do want to join the Discord and just kind of hang and vibe, maybe do some like homework or something together, or like be around while I'm doing things like continuing more research into my actual conditions. Feel free to join in and get more updates through there for what's actually going to be happening. I'll try and keep you guys updated to the best of my capacity for what's actually going to happen in the future. But right now, we're going to have to see what happens. I do want to try and do a whole heap of things, but obviously we don't that would be fun. I'll join if I'm not on shift. You should do random research facts you find. Oh boy, do I ever have random research facts I find. I have a good one to leave on. I have a really good one to leave on for all of you, by the way. So, I found out this thing the other day. Scientists believe that elephants have been domesticated. But they don't believe that elephants have been domesticated by humans. They believe that elephants have domesticated themselves. That's really interesting. Bet the elephants be taking over, says Deathless. Yes, exactly. The elephants be taking over. Thumbtack says, random research facts. I have many of those. Exactly. It's like random research facts. Or potentially we could do like PowerPoint nights or something. I don't know. That could be fun. Like community PowerPoint night or something where we just like have PowerPoint presentations. Where like somebody who's passionate about a topic will just like go, and now you should be learning all about this Tumblr deep dive that I did when I was 12. Or what have you. Deathless says, oh yeah, if you're ever in your server VC, I'll definitely hang out with you. Yeah, sure. Fidge says, new Apex Predator incoming? I mean, obviously. Elephants. Elephants taming themselves. My God, imagine that. In any case, I do appreciate all of you guys coming out and saying hi to me, and I have missed you all so much. Hopefully this is kind of just like a pause point, and we will be able to continue streaming soon, and they'll work out how to actually do this whole streaming thing in the current state that I'm in. Um, feel free, like I said, to join in the discords and everything, and um, and we'll see what happens over there. I will have to head towards work. You all take care of yourselves in the meantime, and have the whatever your time zone may be. I hope it is a decent one. If it says have a not crappy day at work, I shall have a not crappy day at work. It is Easter, so I suppose if you celebrate it, happy Easter, everybody. If you do not, have a happy time zone wherever you may be. And take care of yourselves. Make sure that you drink plenty of water today, because I know some of you are still dehydrated somehow, and the rest of you, make sure that you're eating something. Take care.